She said she wanted love, but left the moment you gave it freely. Why? Because what a woman desires isn't clarity, it's mystery. In this video, you'll uncover the psychological power of being unattainable, and why silence, not affection, creates obsession. This isn't about playing games. This is about becoming the kind of man she can't stop chasing. Welcome to the realm of Stoic love. To motivate us to make more useful videos, please subscribe to the channel and share with your friends. Remember to like and leave a comment. Whatever it is, your feedback will help us learn from you and grow. Now let's explore the wonderful things ahead together. She remains indifferent to the pursuit of love. She seeks surrender, whether it be your acquiescence to her design or her yielding to your strength. She expressed her desire for love, yet love was not enough to keep her there. Affection did not compel her to plead. Affection did not lead her to fixation. She found herself disinterested in the man who provided her with everything, yet her desire ignited for the one who offered nothing and observed her descent. It seems you are struggling to grasp the reasoning behind it. You adhered to the principles. Practice kindness. Embrace the moment. Maintain emotional openness. Become the individual who demonstrates his value through unwavering presence. Yet, there lies a contradiction she will never admit. She remains unyielding in the face of comfort's allure. She becomes ensnared by uncertainty. She has no recollection of the man who embraced her. She recalls the one who restrained themselves. It was never about the gifts. It was not the words that mattered. It was the moment she recognized the grip of her own desire. Desire stirred within you, yet you chose not to indulge. You believe love is the weapon, yet in the battle of female desire, emotional dominance serves as the ultimate key. It is not achieved through force or fear, but through a presence that is measured, controlled, and untouchable. In this video, you will uncover a psychological approach that taps into her most fundamental instincts, how to influence her emotions, not through words, but through your intentional presence, and why measured indifference can be the most potent allure a man can project. Proceed with caution. This is not a path for the faint of heart. This is not a discourse on the virtues of being a good man. This is not a form of therapy. This is a form of mental fortitude, a strategic approach to the turmoil she brings forth within you until you master the art of making her pursue the flame. If you seek approval, turn away from this video. If you seek mastery over your circumstances, remain here. For once you grasp this principle, you will no longer be the prey. She remains indifferent to what she comprehends. She desires that which perplexes her. You thought that by being clear you could foster intimacy, that if you articulated your thoughts, remained reliable, arrived punctually and revealed your feelings, she would choose to remain by your side. She could have loved you for it, yet she did not. She vanished, because certainty extinguishes fixation. Comprehend this clearly. Dependency arises at the point where mastery falters. The deeper her understanding of you, the weaker her emotional connection becomes. As your actions become more consistent, you may find yourself fading into the background. What does her mind seek? Not secure. Embrace the unknown. Embrace the unexpected. Pressure. Not a resolution. The pursuit. Her obsession is not fueled by love. Ambiguity exists because the female psyche does not gravitate towards stability. It is bound by uncertainty. Your presence was unwavering. That is the reason she chose to end her time with you. Yet the individual who fades away without reason, who reaches out only to retreat, who appears warm one evening and distant the next, does not foster a sense of security. He brings disorder, and that chaos transforms into her mental dependency. You refer to it as games. She refers to it as chemistry, yet it lacks the essence of love. It is her emotional mind grappling with a riddle that remains ever elusive. When she recognizes her power over the situation, the desire dissipates. Yet, in the face of uncertainty, when the next step remains unclear, her body reacts with instinctual intensity. She might confide in her friends, labeling him as harmful. It is unclear what his intentions are. She might express her frustration, distance herself, and resolve to move on. Yet, her nervous system retains the memory of him, as he instilled a sense of uncertainty within her. And uncertainty is the poison. Clarity is essential. Predictability is the quiet death of emotion. The greater her understanding of your emotional landscape, the sooner she departs from it. Yet, the confusion etches itself deeply into her memory. This is the reason she fixates on the man who fails to respond. Why does she linger by the phone for someone who cannot be relied upon? Contemplating the significance of the man who kissed her, only to depart without a word. Not due to superiority, but because he transformed into an unresolved equation, one she must decipher through her physical being. The dependency arises not from love, it comes from tension. Not the kind you plead to settle, but the kind you master by choosing not to give her a sense of assurance. Reflect on the moment she began to distance herself. Was it during your absence, or upon your return that it occurred? She remained unaffected by your vulnerability. She was captivated by the reflection of you that led her to doubt her own worth. Not due to any cruelty on your part, but rather because your silence prompted her to contemplate. She had no desire for your words. She yearned for their absence, as it compelled her to envision new possibilities. Every woman seeks the experience of emotional conquest, yet she desires to be captivated by a man whose actions remain unpredictable. You provided her with a narrative of affection. He presented her with an enigma. She found herself unable to cease her relentless pursuit of the next page. The predictable man is appreciated, then forgotten. The perplexing individual is both despised and revered in quietude, for the intellect does not yearn for what it comprehends. It obsesses over what it can't grasp. Do you desire her to be dependent? Cease to be the solution. Embrace the enigma within yourself. Cease the pursuit of safety. Embrace the power of your inner calm amidst the chaos. Not disorder lacking guidance, but uncertainty infused with intention. Not to inflict pain, but to bring awareness. When her mind loses its grip, her body begins to respond instinctively, without consent. Cease the pattern of predictability. Embrace the tempest she cannot predict. What she cannot experience emotionally, she will pursue through physical means. Women express a longing for connection, yet the reality is that this desire flourishes when it is measured, not freely offered, but rather held back. Obsession thrives in the absence of fulfillment. It grows in deprivation. A hungry mind will grasp at any semblance of closeness, regardless of its toxicity, its chill, or the pain it may bring. You exhibited a commendable level of emotional generosity. She experienced acknowledgement, understanding, comfort, and then she yawned. What is plentiful often goes unnoticed. What is rare holds great value. Her desire remains unaffected by your offerings. It arises from what you refuse to acknowledge. She starts to interpret your silence in a provocative manner. She yearns for your validation. She transforms every moment of attention into something profound, recognizing its rarity and value. It is a valuable and uncommon asset. You believe that by holding back affection, you could create distance. Yet it is the absence of attention that truly ignites desire. Hunger marks the inception of obsession, not a matter of physical hunger, desire for emotional fulfillment. When she is uncertain about her position in relation to you, when your words cease to flow, when your gaze fails to provide her the affirmation she seeks, she descends into a spiral. She begins to alter her attire. She shares images, not words. She reaches out to you more often, yearning for you to gaze at her as you once did. She alludes to intimacy, not due to your inquiry, but rather in search of a response. You perceive her actions as driven by longing. She is not. She is negotiating. What she cannot glean from your thoughts, she seeks to draw out through your physical presence. Her sexuality transforms into a means of desperation rather than a form of expression. That is the concealed reality that many fail to recognize. She provides intimacy not as a result of your actions. She provides intimacy as a response to your restraint. This is not an act of manipulation. This is the study of life and living organisms. The female psyche does not find stimulation in excess. It is fueled by what is missing. When you choose to limit emotional availability, she begins to act, striving for attention, revealing more of her exterior than her authentic self. She reaches out, yearning for connection. She engages playfully, seeking acknowledgement. She has ceased to engage. She seeks validation through her physical form. And that is where the dependency begins to establish itself. She starts to interpret even the slightest indication of your existence in a provocative manner. A subtle expression, a fleeting look, a compliment offered with precision, cutting and uncommon. What a curious twist of fate. The more you detach emotionally, the more she opens up to you sexually. You reflect her essence. In the absence of reciprocity, she occupies the void with her own narratives, weaving together her hopes and fantasies, all while you maintain your distance. You embody the concept of a man rather than the man in his entirety. And that is what etches you into memory, because the physical need transcends mere release. It is essential to take back control over your emotions. If she possesses the ability to captivate you, perhaps she can also quell the turmoil within. Perhaps she can find a sense of completeness once more. Perhaps she holds the power to alleviate the hunger. Yet, this is the harsh reality we face. One must learn to endure the hunger that life presents. You uphold it with intention. You provide just the right amount to sustain her hope. In that balance, you possess just the right amount of warmth to ignite longing, paired with sufficient chill to intensify the yearning. That cannot be considered love. That is having something without truly owning it. And that is what fosters an unhealthy fixation. There is no necessity for physical contact with her. Withdraw your emotions until her desire for connection becomes undeniable. In the void of emotional sustenance, intimacy becomes her means of nourishment. Desirability is not achieved through constant presence. To leave a lasting impression, ensure she senses your absence keenly. Reserve your focus, but not your warmth. Not out of disdain, but from a clear comprehension of the nature of female desire. Not as a form of punishment, but as a means to refine her instincts. In the environment you cultivate, she begins to pursue what remains beyond her comprehension. Why does she persist in desiring the man who fails to provide what she explicitly requests, yet offers her what she truly requires beneath the surface? She seeks a man who embodies challenge and depth, not one easily attained. She seeks a man who remains just out of reach. You were present. Your kindness was evident. You offered her your focus, your moments, your steadfastness. You believed she would recognize your worth and hold it dear. She did not. As soon as she sensed the possibility of having you, her need for you faded away. This is the harsh paradox that many fail to grasp. Women do not become dependent on men. They become ensnared by the illusion of never fully owning it. The man who cannot be subdued, the one who stays just beyond her grasp, is the one who occupies her thoughts long into the night. Not due to a deeper affection, but because he remains perpetually unattainable. You perceive love as an agreement. For her, desire is a pursuit of mastery. When victory is achieved, the flames extinguish. She claims to seek certainty, yet her body is drawn to the allure of mystery. She claims to seek stability, yet her instincts are drawn to the unpredictable, the undefined, the uncontrollable man. What occurs when you choose not to be defined by others? Her instincts stir, while her mind remains dormant. Her instincts are rooted in biology, a primal force, reflecting the predator-prey dynamic ingrained in her very being. When she perceives that you are beyond manipulation, that you remain unfazed, unflattered, and not driven by the desire to appease, her entire being shifts into pursuit, not due to any cruelty, but because you embody strength, emotional, psychological, and sexual. Strength that stands firm without seeking approval. Strength that remains unyielding to temptation. That is what she finds impossible to resist. When she comes to understand that you are not entirely hers, emotionally, physically, or otherwise, her thoughts begin to whirl, her visions commence. You find yourself at the core of her mental landscape, the elusive figure that ignites her desire to validate her worth. This is the reason she remains awake through the night, reflecting on a kiss that concluded in quietude. Why does she fixate on a man who departs abruptly in the middle of the night without providing any clarity? Why does she descend into turmoil after just a fleeting look, a subtle smile, or a lack of response? When you hold back from fully committing, when you nearly offer but never truly yield, you embody the very essence of what she desires most, the unattainable reward. She is not inclined towards the kiss. She seeks the uncertainty that ensued. She is not interested in engaging in the conversation. She seeks the stillness that your absence has created. That silence transformed into her canvas. She created visions upon it. Fears, desires, aspirations, uncertainties. And that is when she found herself ensnared, not by you, but by the void your absence created, to the aspect of you that remains beyond her reach. She does not crave what is at hand. Rather, she yearns for what perpetually eludes her grasp. When she thinks she nearly had you, yet fell short, she finds herself trapped in an emotional cycle. You become the standard by which she evaluates all others, not because you offered her abundance, but because you provided just enough to ignite the pursuit and never enough to allow her to settle. This is the foundation of her fixation. She perceives a lack of control regarding your self-discipline. There is no requirement for you to demonstrate your worth. There was no necessity to seek her approval. You maintained your composure, kept your emotions in check, allowed her to approach while you remained steady, and in that moment, the balance shifted. Her thoughts transform into chaos. Her body expresses meaning. She starts to search for clarity in your quietness, purpose in your absence, and intimacy transforms into a tactic, her final effort to tether you to her realm. However, it will not succeed, as you have grasped the core of what many men dread. Do not allow her to believe she possesses your longing. Not due to avoidance, but because what she cannot possess will linger in her memory forever. Withholding information fuels her imagination. She seeks not the truths, but the uncertainties. Her knowledge fails to engage her interest. What she envisions that lingers in her mind. While you may believe that transparency builds trust, in the realm of female desire, it is the allure of mystery that holds true value. A man who feels the need to justify himself extinguishes the flame of curiosity. A person who conceals their true depths leaves a lasting impression. By sharing your history, your childhood wounds, your cherished memories, and your daily routines, you present her with a book that remains closed. She examines it, acknowledges its value, then sets it aside. When you choose to withhold, providing only a facade without substance, she becomes consumed by the need to craft her own narrative. She occupies the stillness with imagination. She casts her longings into the abyss of uncertainty, and in your silence, her emotions deepen. What remains unknown possesses vitality. What is revealed is lifeless. Do you seek her focus? Refrain from putting on a show. Refrain from providing explanations. Vanish without a trace. Not in a physical sense, but rather in a psychological one. Allow her to ponder your silence and the depths it may hold. Allow her to ponder whom you contemplate in your moments of silence. Allow her to be troubled by the unseen. Her imagination serves as a more potent allure than any words you might utter. Words have their constraints. Imagination knows no bounds. When you cease to provide her with facts, she starts to nourish herself with her own narratives. She starts to ponder. Is he engaging with another? Have I lost his interest? What caused his cold demeanor yesterday? Could it have been my responsibility? Her sense of self begins to waver. To halt the descent, she presents her body as a testament to her worth. She doesn't just want to feel desired. She seeks to regain mastery over the man who has become a mystery to her. When a woman senses that she might be losing a man she cannot fully comprehend, she often transforms into the pursuer, the seducer, taking the initiative in intimacy to regain her emotional footing. And your silence speaks volumes. Allow her imagination to take the lead. Leaving her message unread can lead her to ponder your thoughts and intentions more deeply. When you withhold your feelings, she interprets that silence as a challenge she must address. When a woman senses the need to earn your attention, even the smallest gestures transform into something deeply alluring. You glance at her. She melts. Your hand meets her shoulder, and she trembles slightly. Your words resonate within her, a reflection of your connection. It is not the gift itself that matters, but the duration of her anticipation for it. This is the truth that must be acknowledged. She lacks the inclination towards you. She longs for the idealized version of you that exists solely in her imagination. And the less you engage with that version, the more intense her fixation becomes. The greater your enigma, the more influence she attributes to you. In the depths of her unconscious, the man who eludes her understanding, the one she cannot reach, the one who remains quiet in her company, embodies a complexity that is profound, perhaps even perilous. Danger possesses a certain allure. Mystery activates the limbic system. It blurs safety and fear. It provokes a response, not by being present, but by embracing the unknown. That is the reason she alters her attire, shares alluring images, and scrutinizes your every action. Her intentions are not rooted in seeking connection. She seeks to re-establish her presence in your thoughts, despite lacking a clear direction. The individual who speaks sparingly, who discloses minimally, who displays little, embodies all that she longs to attain. Symbols, hold a greater power than the tangible world around us. Speak with intention. Minimize the display. Allow her imagination to take the lead. There is no requirement for eloquence. There is no necessity to charm her with your speech. Provide her with a silence so profound that it compels her to weave tales within her own mind. Once her narratives entwine with your existence, you transcend the bounds of mere manhood. You represent a concept, a work in progress, a boundary she longs to explore. When you offer something and then withdraw, her mind responds with a surge of dopamine, akin to the thrill of a gambler's high. There exists a force that surpasses love, captivates more than desire, and leaves a lasting impression beyond mere beauty. It's the emotional wager. Her mind, much like yours, operates through the intricate balance of chemicals, and the most powerful substance of all, dopamine. However, satisfaction does not trigger the release of dopamine. It emerges from the depths of expectation. Unpredictability breeds the greatest anticipation. Offer her your focus, then fade away. Exhibit warmth, then embrace detachment. Embrace the moment, then step back. In an instant, your identity as a man fades away. You are an element subject to change, and her mind starts to pursue the pattern. This is the process through which addiction develops within the limbic system. Intermittent reward resembles a slot machine, akin to a drug dealer, evoking the unpredictability of emotional Russian roulette. She remains uncertain about what to expect from you. That is precisely what draws her back time and again. When you consistently show kindness, she will adjust accordingly. When you consistently show cruelty, it breeds resentment in her. When you make a change, when you disrupt the routine, her nervous system becomes alert. She experiences vitality, awareness, and an intense focus, not with your affection, but with your subsequent action. She examines her phone with relentless frequency. She reflects on conversations in her mind. She examines your social media with the precision of an investigator, looking for clues. What is the reason behind this? As her mind has become ensnared in the cycle of dopamine, and every time you give her a taste, a text, a glance, a compliment, a reply, after days of silence, she gets her hit. Yet, it always feels insufficient, because you reclaim it just as swiftly. And that is the moment she descends further. She refers to it as detrimental. She confides in her friends, "He's playing with my mind." She claims she has reached her limit, yet she remains steadfast. What she identifies as toxicity is frequently just a response from the limbic system. And at the core, it brings a sense of fulfillment that surpasses the pain of being overlooked. The uncertainty fosters a compelling drive, an intensity, a desire to demonstrate her worth, to excel, to captivate, to triumph. For her, reclaiming your warmth, even for a fleeting moment, brings a sense of validation. Yet with each effort she makes, you distance yourself further, and her investment only deepens. You transform into the challenge she can't resist, as the outcome remains uncertain with each encounter. Do you desire her to be dependent? Exercise restraint in offering rewards. Vary the reward. Render your warmth dependent on circumstances. Earn your focus. Let your expressions of affection be a delightful surprise. A woman possesses the strength to leave a man who repeatedly demonstrates poor behavior. She may eventually find herself disinterested in a man who remains steadfastly virtuous. Yet, it is the one who oscillates between extremes, embodying both paradise and torment, that captivates her thoughts, evokes her fears, ignites her desires, and draws her back time and again, not due to his superiority, but because he provokes thought and reflection. In the realm of the female mind, stimulation frequently embodies the essence of love. Your intention to maintain stability may seem kind, yet it often leads to a lack of distinction. While predictability offers a sense of security, it often lacks the vibrancy of true living. It does not compel her to pursue. It does not cause her any distress. She remains undisturbed, not losing sleep over who you have become. Do you seek to make a lasting impact? Embrace the journey as your own fulfillment. Embrace the consequence, not from a place of malice, but from a calculated approach. Emotional polarity possesses a magnetic quality. It rends her apart, reconstructs her anew, and transforms you into the tempest she seeks to endure. She may label it chaos, yet her body recognizes it as desire. As soon as you disrupt the pattern, as soon as you show kindness once more, she will depart. Not from animosity, but due to the stillness of her mind. If you consistently exhibit virtue, she will adjust accordingly. If you are inconsistent, she senses it. What she experiences, she holds onto in her memory. There is no necessity to elevate your tone. There is no need for supplication. There is no need for elaboration. Embrace the power of inconsistency. When you embody a cycle, you transform into her fixation. When she perceives your emotional strength, her demeanor yields. Intimacy transcends the physical realm. Initially, that was not the case. It stems from the mind. In women, it starts with a singular, unseen power. Disparity in strength, not superiority through force. Control is not achieved through intimidation. Yet, there exists a calm, unwavering confidence in a person who does not seek validation, but instead embraces the power of making his own choices. This reveals the profound and often concealed nature of female desire. She seeks a partner, not a possession. She seeks a man worthy of her effort. When you maintain emotional strength, refraining from chasing, reacting, or pleading, you fundamentally alter the entire dynamic of attraction. You embody the reward. She takes on the role of the pursuer. That reversal stirs a deep, instinctual response within her. Her body remains indifferent to notions of equality. It addresses discord, to emotional strain, to the strength she perceives in your self-control. She seeks the assurance of being selected, but only by a man who remains unaffected by her allure. Only by a person who does not offer emotional availability on command. Only by a person who maintains their worth while another presents theirs. Your true strength is found in what you offer to others. Yet her chemistry reacts to what you choose to keep back. Withholding is a demonstration of strength, and power is alluring. When she realizes that you are impervious to her allure, that your self-worth is not dependent on her approval, and that her charm has no power over you, she begins to desire your attention as if it were essential for her survival. This is the contradiction. She seeks to be claimed, yet only by one who stands unyielded and resolute. When you maintain emotional distance, composure, and tranquility, she yields. Not due to coercion, but because her instincts yield to your authority. Her attire shifts when she is in your presence. Her voice is more subdued. She inclines forward. She exerts greater effort. Her sexuality is ignited, not by your mere presence, but by the strength you embody. You did not offer her any compliments. You refrained from praising her in every picture. You have not opened yourself up emotionally. She was left waiting by you. and in that stillness, her body learned to react anew. Each passing hour of silence transformed into a palpable tension. Each look transformed into a source of fulfillment. Each moment of your focus stood as a testament to her worth. She may not voice it, but she seeks a man who presents a challenge, one who cannot be easily swayed. She seeks a man who captivates her effortlessly, not with blooms, not with phrases, but with the unyielding stillness of a man who remains steadfast. This is the reason she exhibits a tendency towards sexual submission when you are around. Submission serves as her means of asserting control over the man who eludes her grasp. She engages in intimacy not as a gift to you, but as a means to reclaim her sense of control, that her significance is restored, that she has unraveled the mystery. However, you must not allow her to prevail. When you yield emotionally, the intensity of desire diminishes. She seeks a sense of purpose that transcends her individual existence, something beyond comprehension, something beyond reach. When you maintain emotional control, you become the force she cannot resist. It's not about exhibiting harshness. It's about maintaining composure. It's about ensuring she puts in the effort for your energy. When she earns it, it takes on a profound significance, and what feels sacred becomes addictive. You take the initiative, and she will follow your lead. That is the natural response her body is designed to have. She may resist it. She may oppose it. Yet, when you stand firm, she shifts. Not merely her thoughts, her form, her limits, her surrender. And that submission is not a sign of weakness. It is longing in its purest essence. She seeks a partner who stands firm. She seeks a partner who embodies leadership, who remains steadfast, who leads. Guide her emotions with purpose. Do not be swayed by their path. When you relinquish your emotional dominance and stand as her equal, the very instinct that drove her pursuit will fade away. When you embody the enigma, the strength, the core, she presents herself not to seek desire, but to reclaim her sense of power. In that act of giving, you etch your presence into the minds of others. She does not rely on you. She is captivated by the aspect of you that remains a mystery to her. You thought that love was about selflessness, existing in the moment, embracing visibility, embracing gentleness. You believed that by revealing your true self, her longing would deepen. Yet she had no desire for your heart. She sought the enigma that you embody. She sought strength instead of comfort. She sought disorder cloaked in mastery. You believed that being accessible ensured your security, yet your presence rendered her devoid of feeling. The reality is often harsh. What she can grasp, she lets slip away. What eludes her understanding, she holds on to in memory. She remains unperturbed by the man who revealed all to her. She is captivated by the individual who revealed nothing, yet stirred profound emotions within her. Her desire is not rooted in intimacy. It arises from uncertainty, from afar, from uncertainty. You believed her body reacted to warmth, yet her instincts flared to life in the chill. You dedicated your time to her, your vitality, your steadfastness. She chose to depart. He offered her nothing. She pursued him through the flames. What is the reason behind this? Her deepest desires emerge not in moments of safety, but in the face of challenges. You thought she sought clarity, yet she required challenges to ponder. You thought she sought tranquility, yet her mind was forged to withstand tempests. When you allowed yourself to be predictable, you also made it simple for others to walk away. No one seems to mention that. Her dependency was never on your love. It was directed towards the lesser version of yourself, the enigma she could never unravel, the one she needed to pursue for clarity. She remained indifferent to the man who desired her. She yearned for the man who left her pondering whether he ever would. Thus, she envisioned, aspired, extended, and ultimately stumbled. Not due to your charm, but rather your restraint. You maintained your composure. You embraced the stillness. You maintained your strength. She occupied the emptiness with her presence, not to engage, but to unravel the enigma, to overcome the uncertainty, to restore her emotional equilibrium. When a woman entrusts her body to a man she cannot emotionally govern, it transcends mere physical intimacy. It is an acceptance of authority. It is a commitment to what lies beyond our understanding. And the uncertainty was you, but not the version that provided clarity, not the one who pursued, not the version who surrendered himself too readily. It was the iteration shrouded in stillness, grounded in the moment, detached from desire. You were not the solution she sought. You were her perplexing riddle. That is the reason for her return, repeatedly, time and time again. Because she wasn't pursuing you. She was pursuing clarity, yearning for the resolution that was never provided, obsessed with a result that never came to fruition. And each time you remained just beyond her grasp, she sank further into the longing, not for affection, for mastery over you. Yet it was never offered. And that is what rendered you indelible. She never genuinely sought dominion. She sought to secure her position in your realm. When you withheld that position from her, her body started to plead where her pride would not yield. You believed you had let her down. Yet, you have merely succumbed to the facade. Because she understood that her fulfillment did not depend on another person. She sought a man who would remain forever beyond her grasp. You are not the answer. You embody contradiction. You are the injury that remains unhealed. The enigma she continually unravels through her very being, and each response eludes capture the instant she lays her hands upon it. You are the advantage, the void, the tempest. Embrace the stillness, the spectre she cannot cease desiring. If this has unlocked a pathway within her mind, the next video will guide you on how to enter and remain steadfastly within. If these words echo your truth, write this in the comments. I begin my journey. I read every one, and I walk this path with you. Subscribe, because the stories we've yet to tell are the ones that change us most. What did you think of the video? Be sure to give it a thumbs up and drop a comment to share if you journeyed all the way to the end of the video. Simply utter those words, and I'll understand that this video made a difference for you. Thank you kindly, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more captivating tales like this one. I've set aside a few of our videos that will be quite beneficial for you. They appear before our eyes, alive on the screen.